Hello, my internet peeps. How are you today? This is Scott Rideshare. So today, I want to tell you a story. But before I get to that story, I wanted to give a shout out to Mass Lass, who is a subscriber of mine and a frequent commenter. I wanted to say thank you. I do reply to all your comments, but I haven't heard anything since then, so I'm not sure if you're getting those replies. But in either case, I'm sitting down. Anyway, the story I want to tell you about happened, I guess, about 8 months ago. What happened was, I'm in this busy intersection. It's about 5:30 p.m. and I'm in the left-hand lane. And when you turn after you make this lane, you could do one of two things. You can either go straight, which will lead you into a mall, or you can make an immediate right, which will lead you to some parking in front of office buildings. For the rest of the block, all the way down. Blocks, I should say, with an S. Anyway, I make the turn and I make the right hand turn to pull into the office buildings, and I look at the address and then I look up to see where where the buildings are, the numbers on the building. And as soon as I look up, I see this lady running up to me and she's doing this real frantic. So, I stop the car and we verify that it's her. She's got luggage. It's not a lot. It's a small, one of those small bags with the roller bags. And I put it into my car and we start going. And she's frantic and agitated. I could tell. She's like all over the place. And what she was upset about was the fact that her previous driver had pulled into that area, drove past her building, and then waited at the end of the building, the end of the block. And he waited for about a minute and canceled on her. And she got charged a cancellation fee. She was also upset because she was going to the airport and she didn't want to miss her flight. Now, every time I run into a situation where somebody's running late, my basic philosophy is poor planning on your part is not an emergency on my part. So I don't necessarily rush, all right? Now, if somebody comes up with a story like that, whether it's true or not, I'll have a tendency to be more lenient, more willing to, push things a little bit more, shall we say. And hers sound legitimate. The first thing I told her was, you can call Lyft, you can contact Lyft, and they're pretty good about refunding money. And she goes, yes, I know, I've done it before. She goes, but I shouldn't have to. And yeah, she's right. She shouldn't have to. I don't know why the driver canceled on her. I wasn't there. The thing is that when I come into situations like that, I generally don't take sides. I always try to empathize with the passenger who's in my car. I empathize with their point of view without blaming the driver. So in this case, I was not saying it was the driver's fault. I wasn't saying anything like that because there could have been a number of reasons. Me personally, I think if I had passed her building, even though traffic was a pain in the neck to go around and pick her up again, maybe I would have backed up, which you're not supposed to do, but I probably would have backed up. I may have driven behind that building. If you don't know the area, he could have done that. But again, if you don't know the area, you don't know that. But it's possible he drove past it and he didn't see the lady while he was waiting, so he canceled and left. In either case, I told her that she can, get the charges reversed. So while she's doing that, again, I'm in this like congested area, and I kind of get around the corner where I needed to go. And while I'm there, I said to her, listen, do you mind if I take side roads? And I've said in the past that side roads, I don't think they get you there any faster, quite honestly. It's probably about the same time. And it's because you have speed bumps, you have stop signs, and you can't speed in these areas. And there are always cops waiting around. And when you do get to a light, you've got a main road going by. So your light happens to be generally pretty long. So I generally don't think that going that way is any faster. But because you're moving more, you feel like you're moving faster. So it's something I like to take for passengers. To make them feel like, yeah, we're doing something, other than sitting and waiting at a light. So anyway, we're going down the side roads, and She's also telling me that um, she does this all the time. She lives in Tampa and she flies down in the morning and she works and then she flies back at night. And, you know, I've never been in a job like that. I don't know what it's like. I can imagine getting on and off an airplane all day, every day is kind of annoying. It can be, I think. But heck, if you get paid enough, why not? I mean, it can't be any worse than being stuck in traffic going down to, say, Miami from where we are. Anyway, she does also mention that she thought that the drivers in Fort Lauderdale were the worst. She said she's been to several different cities, and the Fort Lauderdale ones are the worst. And I can't speak on that. I can only speak on the fact that I do get passengers in my car, and the vast majority of them have zero problems, whether it's Uber or Lyft. There's only a couple that do have a problem. Now, it could be that she's coming from the airport a lot. And, you know, when you're at Fort Lauderdale at the airport, especially at the time, you know, you don't want to sit there and wait an hour and a half for short runs. You want the long runs, because if your fee comes up, if you get paid like $5-10 after waiting at the airport for an hour, well, you know, the ride itself plus the wait time, you're not getting paid a lot of money. It's very little money. So you want more than that. Now, from where we were to the airport, especially at that time, it wasn't $10. It was more than that. I don't remember how much it was, but it was more than $10. I don't know what it was in the morning leaving to get to that area. In either case, you know, we were driving, and I was, you know, I felt bad again that she was thinking that Fort Lauderdale drivers are the worst, because I'm a Fort Lauderdale driver. I kind of didn't want to be lumped in with the worst. Do you know what I'm saying? Anyway, I'm letting her vent. I'm letting her get it out, and I'm not condemning anybody. I'm not attacking companies. I'm not attacking other drivers, but I am empathizing with what she has to go through, and stuff like that will take you a long way. If you happen to be a driver, it will take you a long way. If you're not a driver and you happen to be in a customer service job, that will take you a long way. So a lot of times too, when you're a driver, you have a tendency to be like somebody's bartender, where they're telling you their problems. It happens all the time. In either case, while we were still driving there, I'm telling her that Lyft had just instituted like a chargeback program. So if you're a Lyft driver and you're trying to beat the system, where you're trying to get money from cancellation fees and not from actually driving people, Lyft will give a chargeback. I don't know how they determine who's doing what. You know, I've canceled and I haven't gotten a chargeback on any of my cancellations, but it could be the way it was done. I don't know. In either case, I had told her that that's what was going on, and that Lyft had just instituted. So this will also give you an idea, if you know when it happened. This will give you an idea when this particular ride happened. Anyway, she was, I could see like more and more tension. She was relaxing more. I also asked her what time her flight was. I told her that it looked like we had enough time to get to the airport and for her to get through TSA with no problems. So she was just calming down the whole time we got to the ride. When we did get to the airport, she sees the plane and she goes, "Look, the plane." And almost in synchronicity, we said, "The plane, the plane." We gave a shout out to Hervesh, who, RIP. We first remembered that he was a Bond villain, and then most famous for being the guy Tattoo on Fantasy Island. And we talked briefly about Ricardo Montalban, who was Khan, and on Fantasy Island, this was before Captain Kirk famously said Khan, and but he was Khan before in the original series. Anyway, then as we were driving, you know, we did that briefly, and we're getting into the airport, and I said, you know, that also reminds me of another show that I watched famously as a kid, and I said, "The Love Boat." And she jumped in and started singing as well. So here we are singing the theme to The Love Boat. I'm not gonna sing anymore because the acoustics in here are worse than in my shower, and I don't have her with me singing, so you're not gonna hear me sing any more than what I just did. Anyway, we pull up to the stop. We're singing the Love Boat, and when I gave her her luggage, at the end of the ride, her whole demeanor had changed. She had gone from agitated, upset, frustrated, kind of nervous to this calm person who she could tackle the world. And you can't always do that, but you do feel good when you can do that. And I told her to have a great flight, and she left, and that was the end of it. But for those of you who are passengers, try not to take your frustrations out on the driver who had nothing to do with why you're running late. If it was another driver, we don't all talk to each other. We don't know what's going on. So try not to take it out on him. If you happen to be a driver, then try to understand that if you let them just vent out and you, at the same time, you empathize with them without placing blame anywhere, chances are you're going to get high ratings. She did give me a high rating, and she wrote a comment on my page, which I saw, and I could tell it was her because of the comment. She referenced the Love Boat song. Anyway, this is Scott Rideshare. Thank you for listening. I hope you all have a great day.